The moment she called me a scammer over $12, I knew this wasn't about tea anymore. This was about principle. Because the night before we were excited like kids, scrolling through flavors you can't even buy in stores, talking about how we'd split the cost, talking about how fun it would be to try something new. But by morning, she suddenly wanted all the benefits without sharing the reality of the price. So I gave her exactly what she asked for. Nothing. And what happened after the drinks finally arrived at work was way more satisfying than I expected. If you enjoy petty revenge stories where small situations turn into surprisingly satisfying karma, hit the like button, subscribe, and settle in. And tell me in the comments, have you ever had a coworker argue over something ridiculously small? Because this story proves even tea can start workplace wars. I work at a mid-sized warehouse office in Tampa, Florida. Nothing glamorous. Fluorescent lights, break room gossip, endless paperwork. But like most workplaces, you find little ways to make the day more bearable. For me, they usually meant chatting with coworkers during downtime. That's how I became friendly with Megan. She was loud, opinionated, the kind of person who had a story for everything. Sometimes funny, sometimes exhausting, but overall tolerable. One afternoon, we were both scrolling our phones during lunch break when she suddenly gasped, "You know that iced tea brand everyone drinks?" Of course I did. Cheap, sweet, everywhere. Well, apparently they sell exclusive flavors online. Now I was interested. We opened the site together, scrolling through colorful cans, mango blends, strawberry citrus, weird experimental flavors you'd never see in gas stations. There was something weirdly exciting about it, like unlocking a secret menu. A 12-pack cost $24. We looked at each other, simultaneously said, "Let's split it." Simple, fair. She immediately Venmo'd me $12. Deal done. Or so I thought. That night when I got home, I sat on my couch ready to place the order. But then I saw it. Shipping. Flat rate. $10. After tax, the total jumped to about $36. I paused. Did the math. Technically, if we still split evenly, we'd each pay around $18. But she'd already sent $12. So I texted her explaining the situation. No response. Minutes turned into hours. Still nothing. Eventually, I figured she was busy. So I placed the order. Because, honestly, I still wanted to try the flavors. The next morning, my phone buzzed. Her message. "Never mind. Just send my money back." No explanation. No apology. Just cancel. I stare at the screen, feeling that familiar workplace frustration. That moment when someone casually creates a problem and expects you to fix it instantly. But the order was already placed. So I tried to compromise. I offered something generous. "Okay, what if I give you 5 cans instead of 6? I'll take the extra cost." That meant I'd pay around $24 for 7 cans. She'd still only pay $12 for 5. Clearly the better deal for her. But Megan didn't see it that way. She wanted 6 cans for $12, leaving me paying double for the same number. That's when the conversation shifted. Her tone changed. She accused me of trying to scam her. Over tea. $12. In that moment, something inside me snapped. Not explosively, but quietly, like a switch turning off. I realized this wasn't about fairness for her. It was about winning. So I refunded her money. Immediately. No argument. No drama. But I made a mental note, because I remembered something she had joked about weeks earlier. She used to tease me for hustling snacks back in a training program, calling me a scammer in front of people. Everyone laughed, including me at the time. But now, it didn't feel funny anymore. When the tea finally arrived a few days later, it felt like poetic timing. Bright, colorful cans, cold from the office fridge. The entire break room suddenly smelled like fruit and sugar. And Megan? She noticed instantly. Her eyes lit up. "Wait, you still order them?" I smiled. "Yeah." She asked if she could try one. That's when I delivered the line I had been saving. "Sure, $3.40. Her face froze. Confusion. Then annoyance. Then realization. Because that was exactly what each can cost me. Shipping included. Suddenly, the whole situation became very real for her. Every lunch break after that became its own small performance. I'd walk into the break room, open a can slowly, let the crisp PSSH sound echo, take a long sip, and sit down calmly. She'd watch. Sometimes she'd hint. Sometimes she'd ask directly. And every time I gave the same answer, $3.40. She never bought one. But she also never called me a scammer again. The revenge wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. But it was deeply satisfying. Because for once, she had to face the exact reality she tried to avoid: fairness, accountability, and the true cost of convenience. Watching her realize she could have had cheap drinks, but chose pride instead, felt like winning a silent argument. Sometimes petty revenge isn't about hurting someone. It's about drawing a line, about showing people that kindness isn't weakness. And that small disrespect adds up, even over something as simple as iced tea. If this story made you smile or reminded you of a petty workplace situation, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And tell me in the comments, what's the pettiest argument you've ever had with Coworker? Because honestly, workplaces run on drama as much as deadlines.